Everyone says building wealth gets easier, but the first $100,000 feels like walking uphill in the dark. No passive income, no dividends, just your effort, your savings habit, and a balance that crawls forward. Most people quit right there, just before compounding finally starts helping. This video will show you exactly where that turning point is. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover the mental traps, the math problem, and the identity shift that decide whether you make it. What's been the hardest part of your journey so far? Let's start with why this stage feels so slow. Saving in the early stages is a test of patience few people prepare for. Save $500 a month with no investment returns, and you're looking at over 16 years to hit $100,000. Earn a steady 7% a year, and it still takes more than 12 years. That's a long stretch to stay focused when the progress is small and slow. For much of that time, the growth in your account barely registers in a way that feels rewarding. You put in the hours at work, move the money into your account month after month, and the total creeps up by amounts that seem tiny compared to the effort behind them. The early grind is exactly what it sounds like. Work you carry entirely on your own back. In the beginning, it's not your money working for you, it's you working for every single dollar. Those headlines about passive income feel miles away because every cent you add comes out of your paycheck, not from an invisible engine running in the background. Run the numbers for 1 month. Save $500 and you've increased your net worth by $500. The market might add a few extra dollars, barely enough for a cup of coffee. The same happens the next month and the one after that. Starting at a small gain over and over can make freedom feel decades away. It's like pushing a car in neutral. You're straining hard just to move it an inch. And because you can't yet see the point when the slope changes in your favor, it's easy to think you're going nowhere. The psychological weight of this stage can be heavier than the financial challenge. You watch friends spend freely. You skip purchases to stay on track, and still feel you're standing still. Each milestone, $5,000, $10,000, feels far away from $100,000, let alone independence. That constant grind is powered entirely by what you put in because compounding hasn't started doing any serious lifting. This is where many people quietly stall, not because they lack discipline or smarts, but because slow growth looks like failure. When the payoff isn't visible, they lower contributions, stop investing altogether, or cash out to spend on something that feels good now. But the numbers aren't broken. This flat growth is exactly how the math works at the start. Compounding doesn't have enough capital yet to matter, so all the momentum is human-powered. The smartest move in this stage? Remove motivation from the equation. Automate contributions so they happen whether you feel like saving or not. That one habit protects your momentum when your brain tries to convince you it isn't worth it. The key is reframing what's happening. This isn't a verdict on your ability to build wealth, it's the entrance exam. The goal right now isn't to earn impressive returns. It's to prove you can sustain the habits that will matter when the returns finally take over. If you survive this phase, the math will start working in your favor, and each year will get easier. Patience here is rare, and that's exactly why so many people get filtered out before they see compounding's real effect. But even if you push through this stretch, there's another challenge: your own behavior. You might be closer to derailing your progress than you realize. It's not just the grind that slows you down. There are specific patterns that quietly eat away at your progress. 3 of them show up so often they've become almost invisible: lifestyle inflation, inconsistent habits, and emotional spending. Each one can stall your journey long before you reach that first $100,000, and each one has a simple fix that can shave years off your timeline. Lifestyle inflation is the most common. You get a raise, a bonus, or a little extra from a side hustle, and instead of saving more, you start spending more. Take someone earning $55,000 who gets bumped up to $60,000. They decide it's finally time to upgrade their 10-year-old car. That new car comes with a $400 monthly payment, almost $5,000 a year. The raise? Gone. They're making more on paper, but their net worth barely moves because the extra income is already spoken for. Fixing this is straightforward. Decide in advance that any raise or bonus automatically increases your savings rate before you touch your spending. This single change can shave years off your timeline. Inconsistent habits work differently. Missing the occasional month isn't catastrophic, but repeated breaks break momentum. Imagine you've been saving $500 every month, then skip 3 months. That's $1,500 you didn't contribute, but the real loss is the growth that money could have earned over decades. Compound interest magnifies both invested months and missed months, just in opposite directions. The solution here is automation. Set up transfers to happen before you even see the money. This single change can shave years off your timeline. Then there's emotional spending. Purchases driven by feelings instead of plans. Stress from work, boredom at home, or social pressure to upgrade your phone or join a trip can trigger bursts of spending that have nothing to do with your goals. One rough week can mean a night out, a "you deserve it" gift, and an impulsive online order, all in a matter of days. The fix? Track your triggers and put barriers between the urge and the buy. A 24-hour rule on anything over a set amount forces a pause. Pair that with a smaller discretionary budget so impulse buys have less room to grow. This single change can shave years off your timeline. The reason these traps hit so hard in the first $100,000 phase is that, early on, there's no meaningful investment momentum to cover mistakes. Every dollar you keep moves the needle. Every dollar you lose pulls you back. Plugging even one leak, whether it's spending the raise, breaking your savings streak, or letting emotions run your wallet, can create more progress than chasing higher returns or picking the perfect investment. When you cut out these leaks, something shifts. Your savings rate jumps without feeling restrictive. Your account grows steadily because no months are missing. Impulse purchases happen less often, so more of your income stays in your corner. And little by little, you put yourself in position for the moment when the math finally starts helping instead of fighting you. Stop leaking progress, and something surprising happens. Your money starts moving without you. There's a point in your journey where the numbers in your account start moving for reasons that have nothing to do with your latest deposit. You log in, expecting the usual slow climb, but instead see a jump that came entirely from growth. It's the first real signal that compounding has started to pull its own weight, and it feels different. The first hints often appear at predictable milestones. At $30,000, a good month in the market might give you $400 without you adding a cent. At $50,000, a solid year could bring in a few thousand on returns alone. By $100,000, a 10% year means $10,000, more than many people can save in 12 months, arriving without extra hours of work. The percentages haven't changed, but the impact is now impossible to ignore. One way to know you've reached the bend is simple. Start watching for months where your balance rises even if you didn't put in fresh money. The first time you see that, it's not just a pleasant surprise, it's proof the habits you've built are now amplified by something bigger than your effort. A friend once told me about logging in to find his net worth up by over $1,000 with no new deposits. At first he thought it was a glitch, until he realized the market had simply done what it does when you've stayed invested long enough. The contrast with the early grind is stark. Back when your balance was $5,000, a 10% return meant $500. Nice to see, but not enough to change how you felt about your progress. Now that same 10% can cover months of expenses or fund a goal without touching your paycheck. You've crossed a line where each gain lands in the real world instead of just on a spreadsheet. Reaching this point isn't sudden, It's the sum of every repetitive action you took during the slow, frustrating phase. Skipping the splurge in favor of another deposit. Letting your automated transfers run even during market dips. Declining to hit pause just because life got busy. It all stacks quietly until it reaches a size where market moves start producing outcomes you can feel in day-to-day life. This is also when your mindset starts to shift. You're no longer thinking only about how much more you can earn from your job. You're asking how to protect what you've built and make sure your money keeps working efficiently. You've gone from being the only worker in the system to being the owner of capital that generates results in the background. Your progress no longer hinges entirely on your mood, your energy, or the hours you can put in. Early on, market swings were background noise, barely moving the needle. Now, even modest growth can pay for a trip, chip away at your mortgage, or give you breathing room in your budget. The math is the same. The weight behind it has changed. The slow climb has turned into forward steps you can see. But crossing $100,000 is about more than just the returns. It marks a turning point in how you relate to money itself. A shift that runs deeper than numbers on a screen and prepares you for something even more important. If your bank balance disappeared tomorrow, would the way you handle money bring you back to where you are now? That's the question worth answering, because your real asset isn't the number on the screen. It's the habits you've built to get there. Before any asset base can compound, your decisions have to compound first. Every choice, what to buy, what to save, what to delay, lays the foundation your future wealth will stand on. Most people obsess over tactics, the right account, the highest interest rate, the new budgeting app. But none of that matters if you lack the habits that make those tools work. Hitting your first $100,000 is less about flawless strategy and more about becoming the kind of person who sticks to a system no matter the conditions. Someone who stays consistent when nothing is changing fast, who has the patience to let small wins stack, and who doesn't dismantle good progress at the first setback. The grind to six figures forces these habits into place. You turn down lifestyle upgrades you could easily justify. You keep contributing even during a market dip. You treat extra income not as spending power, but as investment fuel. At first, it feels repetitive, even boring, but it's quietly rewiring your instincts. And once those patterns stick, you could lose everything and still recover faster than before, because the real system exists in your behavior, not in your account. I know someone who reached just over $80,000 invested before a stretch of layoffs and expenses forced him to cash out most of it. From the outside, that looked like starting over. In reality, they still had automated savings, steady spending habits, and the discipline to aim every raise at building back their portfolio. Their recovery was faster than their first climb because they weren't figuring anything out. They were simply running the same system they'd already mastered. That's the overlooked benefit of the first $100,000. Resisting lifestyle creep stops feeling like restraint, it becomes normal. Following your investment plan through dips no longer feels risky, it's just how you operate. Automated savings don't require discipline, they're simply built into your life. You've moved beyond relying on bursts of motivation to make good choices because the choices now run on autopilot. One habit worth locking in early is treating any raise or bonus as an automatic boost to your savings rate. Decide now that a change in income never changes your lifestyle first, it changes how much you invest. Over time, that single ritual reinforces your identity as someone who grows wealth by design, not by chance, and it compounds far beyond the dollars it adds. This is the real identity shift the $100,000 milestone represents. You go from trying to save to operating with a financial autopilot you trust. You still make adjustments, but you don't gamble your stability on impulses or short-lived excitement. You plan in decades, not pay periods. And most importantly, a setback can't erase your ability to build again, because the knowledge, patience, and structure that got you here don't vanish with your balance. The money proves you can save and invest. The habits prove you can keep doing it for life. And that difference matters most at a stage of the journey many people never reach. The first $100,000 is more than a number. It's the phase that quietly removes anyone who can't stay consistent when results are hard to see. Getting through it leaves you with something more valuable than the money itself: discipline, structure, and a system you can run for life. If you want to start tonight, automate your contributions. Commit a set percentage of every future raise to savings, and use a 24-hour rule or low discretionary cap to control impulse spending. In the comments, share one trap from the video you struggle with and one small step you'll take this week. The first $100,000 is the filter that builds both habits and identity. If this changed how you see the early stage, like and subscribe.